Well, welcome, Purdy. It's great to get you on the show. And been trying to get you on there for a while, but we finally got you.
Great to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming and sharing your story with us. And, I know you're involved in a lot of stuff. There's so much I want to ask you about. Spiritual Cartel, it's massive. It's all over the internet. It's brilliant. Great message. And, a bit about your life story, really. If you want to share that with us.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so listen, thanks for asking me to come. We're talking, it's beautiful on the way. We're just looking at the sort of the sky and the way it all is, and just to be aware nowadays, and we weren't in the madness in that crazy life before. I was blind to all this stuff. So, for me, just coming in, start off where I was, where it began for me. Yeah. For me, really, it's, I suppose I'm from that trauma background. So that adoption. Mum was only young, mum was only 15, and I came into a family I didn't feel part of. I was a naughty kid. They talk about restless, irritable, discontent. I was restless, irritable and discontent. I wasn't loved, I was beaten, I was abused, I was told that I wasn't part of. And all I wanted to do was escape. That's what I remember. I'm sort of there, I had a little bit of something about me and I wanted to escape. And I found that escape in drugs. I found that escape, first of all, probably in music. Yeah. It was, what was it? I was 10, 11 years old. So 7, I was probably like, 89, 90, early 90s, the rave scene. I went round a guy's house from school and he had these flyers all over the walls. Yeah. You remember that?
The old rave flyers.
Fusion, hardcore, Helter Skelter, Stearns, and all those old sort of flyers and these DJs, Colin Dowell, Colin Faver, Slipmatt, Psy, Dougal, Carl Cox. And he was playing these, used to get the tape decks and have cut out the flyers and then cut the DJs' names out and put them all on. And he had rows and rows and rows of these things. And we started listening to this music. And I loved it, man. I was in at that point. I loved it because it was an escape from a life that I didn't want to be in. Yeah. With that came, that early, the early experimentation stuff.
Is that the pills and weed?
A little bit later, it started off with the 2 gas canisters. The old sucking the gas. Jeez. So the lighter gas. So it was one up one sleeve, one up the other sleeve, walking around, wing, 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 getting that feeling. Glue. It was anything we could get our hands on.
To change how you felt.
To change. Do you know what? I don't know if it was like back, it was just fun. It was great. Yeah. Man, I loved it. We were rolling joints, we were hitting bongs, we were, doing the hash, we were getting skunking when it came about, we were, speed, there was a lot of speed. That's it. And I remember the music, there was bass and we were putting it in Rizzlers, remember, and whacking it down your throat. So there was that early time, and then I sitting there talking, having a chat, feeling out, it was great. I loved it. Into the clubs, into these, let's go to this rave, let's go to this rave. There was raves under the cliffs in Brighton, or up the road a little bit from it. There was the warehouse parties, there was parties in Woods with the Travellers. We were amongst it.
90s was wicked, wasn't it?
Mate, it was absolutely incredible, and we were, I was lucky enough, I was asked to MC at Fusion. So it was a guy, I'm trying to can't even think of the name, not DJ Knight. But anyway, it was this opportunity to go and do this MC, because I used to love doing a bit of MCing. We build this group of friends, and I'm playing with the music. I'm starting to, lyrically, I quite enjoy it. I'm writing. I'm got all this stuff's coming out of me. Subconscious, conscious stuff, thoughts is coming out. A little bit of the darkness of the soul, a little bit of unity, happy, and all that elation. So I'm starting to mix words and do it, and I love it. It was great fun. So we're doing that, and then obviously we're going to the clubs. Pills become a part of life. I'm rubbing faces, and we're stroking each other, and we're like, and it was like the party. No one wanted to. It wasn't. You never was there and see like the fighting or the people looking to pull each other. Yeah, it was
a different vibe, wasn't it?
It was. It was unity.
It was about enjoying yourself.
It was about enjoying yourself. It was about dancing. It was about love, and I was swept away in this world. Yeah, absolutely swept away in this world. I was away from the family home or the home when I was sort of 12, 13 years old, and I was sleeping on sofas, sleeping in the back of cars, sleeping out wherever I did. But it didn't matter. I never felt a hardship from it because it was such an escape from that life before. That
it was actually probably better than...
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. But, I was definitely a naughty kid. Yeah. And as time went on, the drugs start, we're picking it up a little bit, I remember smoking crack for the first time, taking a lot of Valiums, and it puts a darker twist on what was once a beautiful arena.
Yeah.
They talk about the disease of now and more, the progression of this illness, because I don't know. And I don't even know I've got a problem. I just enjoy it. I take them taking microdots.
Yeah.
We're out in the woods controlling the fires. And I remember one time I buried myself. I thought there was people. So we're in this cornfield and there's this old windmill. And I like the cherries on the end of cigarettes.
Yeah.
So I could see them all coming through the woods and I thought they're coming for me. So I buried myself under the mud. So my eyes, and I'm pulling this mud all over me, just so my eyes are sort of like that. And I laid there until that point, like an hour, 2 hours later, you sort of get up and go, "Is there actually anyone there?" But there was 1,000 stories like that, and actually, it was just really enjoyable. It was you were just experimenting with your mind, you were doing stuff. It was incredible. But like I say, yes, that darker twist, crack becomes a part. I'm the disease, and now I'm more start injecting heroin into my arms.
Did you find other people you were hanging with could have a party and then go home and have a, but you wanted to carry on? Or
I think the group that I was with, there was a couple like that, but I was with a group of about 4 or 5 lads that all like to party.
Right.
That all like to carry on.
Yeah.
And I think back then it felt a little bit different. It was different to the cocaine years, which came later, which seemed to, go on a different spectrum. But this sort of early days, getting in trouble with the law, I used to ring the police up. So I used to nick a car, and then I'd ring the police up and go, I'll be on my own. So I'd steal a car, and then I'd drive somewhere, and then I'd phone the police and say, look, I'm on Peter Street, come and get me.
Really?
Yeah. So that was my mentality. Wow. It was like I was bored, and I wanted stuff to do. But do you know what?
Were they surprised when they turned up?
I had a little. I was arrested a few times. I mean, prison is part of my story, of course. At the end, I can't. There's only so long you can play around at it for. But I used to have this relationship with a desk sergeant. Almost like,
really?
Purdy, what are you doing here again? And I'd be like, morning. Any messages for me? He's like, you're going to get yourself seriously in trouble one day. And then it mounted up, and it got to a point where I ended up getting in too much trouble. So I moved I was in South London. I was in a dark and dingy flat. Was the real sort of a big turning point in my life, a big geographical. I was in this dark and dingy flat. There was weapons involved. There were people out on the rob. I was in that world.
Okay, it started to get quite dark.
Yeah, what happened from the gonna touch the sky, you've never been this high. Those piano tunes, that elation of that time, that warehouse feeling, that unity feeling to dark and dingy flats. And still not knowing that there's a problem. Still just, this is life. This is my life. This is the way it is. I'm in survival mode. And I thought I was going to die that night. And there was a guy, he was gurning off his face, and it was a girl sitting next to me, and she passed me a cigarette, and he jumped up and machete out and had it against my throat and had me up against the wall, and I was sitting there going like that. Just at that time, God, we talk of this God consciousness now, this spirit of the universe, this power, this energy that we come to talk about in recovery. I look back now and look at that moment. There was a knock on the door. As I'm pinned up against the wall, there's a knock on the door. It's a geezer from Liverpool. He'd been out on a rob. He came in and he talked, and the girl said, he's just put a knife up to his throat. And he went, right, come on, we'll deal with this. And they went in the kitchen and they started talking. I thought, I'm barefooted in this flat, South London. I think, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. They're gonna do me in and get rid of me. And I ended up jumping up out of that, so running out the door while they were in the kitchen, barefooted, and I run down all the flights of stairs, and I run. And I remember calling my mate and just saying, look, mate, we got to get out of here. I don't like the feeling around here anymore. He said, Purdy, I've got a mate in North London. I don't think there's any drugs in North London. Yeah. We'll go to North London.
So you felt like you wanted to get away from not just the people, but it was getting too much.
It was too much. The walls were closing in.
The drama was getting too intense.
I'd done too much. I was doing too much, and it was. I needed an out. I needed to get out. That geographical. It was everybody else's, but it was the situation I was in. It was everything around me. I needed to change that. Therefore, that would change me.
Yeah.
There is drugs in North London, by the way.
Is there?
Yeah.
Wow,
it's amazing.
We're
like a magnet to this stuff, aren't we? Because it's us that's the problem.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I find a new love. I find football.
Yeah.
I find fighting. I find sex. I find drugs. I find rock and roll. I find garage music. I find house music. I find fruit machines. I find...
So everything and anything.
Yeah, white Ralph Lauren cloth shirts, Reebok white classics, sovereigns on every single finger,
proper
jewelry.
hooligan, man.
Look, we were there, so fashion.
Yeah.
I fall in love with something else. You know, and then that takes me on a journey. That takes me to another point. And, you know, these people I'm hanging around with, I never had that family, that feeling of family. So these guys become my life.
Yeah.
I'd die for them people.
Yeah.
Thing is, as an addict or as a human being, my expectation level of other people, I need them to think how I think. I need them to behave how I want them to behave, because I come from a caring, loving place.
Yeah.
But I project so much love and stuff onto you that I want it in return, and when I don't get it, it hurts me.
Yeah,
you know. But
it sounds like you've got a good grip on how that works for you emotionally, or how it did.
Definitely.
You understand
Through recovery.
A lot of people don't understand that.
No,
they keep giving love or attention or affection or money,
and
not getting it back and getting twisted and not understanding it's an internal.
Yeah. I think through recovery and as the story progresses, it's sort of like, you know, you see it. And then I see it from a different point of view. When I got out of prison was part of my story. I got into a fight. I ended up getting a prison sentence. You know, I come out of prison. I remember having that decision. I was, 20, 21 years old. I made a firm resolution that when I come out of prison, life's going to change.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be this person anymore. I take so many drugs. I can't stop. I'm 7-day-a-weeker. I'm on it all the time.
Yeah.
I go into prison and I make a decision that when I get out of here, I'm going to have a wife, because I'm pretty, when I put my mind to something, we read from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and Bill talks about no one can tell me I can't do anything. And I've done lots of that in my life, from MCing to, I coached at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Wow.
I took over the David Beckham Academy when he sold it, and I run coaching there.
Flipping
you know,
heck.
I was a sales and marketing manager for Anglian Home Improvements.
Yeah.
I was earning $200,000 a year as a,
Flipping hell.
you know, I had a big house in Angmarin, had Range Rovers, had a his and hers Range Rovers with a bow round it, that sort of life. 4 holidays a year. So, but what I'd do is I'd always burn it to the ground. But I can get there. I can get
your head's
there.
strong enough to achieve.
Exactly. But you know,
But then
I
get into.
I can't hold on
The
to
fire
it.
starter is in you as well.
Talks about the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, and that's me. I'm not the prison guy. I've been to prison, but I'm not the prison guy. I'm the dangerous one.
Yeah.
I'm the one you fall in love with.
Yeah.
I'm the one that your family falls in love with. I'm the one that the kids fall in love with. I'm the one that you call Uncle Purdy.
Yeah.
I'm the one, the captain of the football team.
Yeah.
I'm the
So
I can do
respectable,
music.
but inside at the time.
I do it. I do these things, but then I burn it all down because the real me comes out.
Yeah.
You see, I'm a show.
Because it's an act, isn't it?
Of course
it's putting
it is.
on a face.
I'm a liar.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a 1,000 different masks, 1,000 different suits, because that's how I've had to
we
learn.
adapt. Yeah.
We had to adapt to the street. That kept me safe in the street.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on the fight. I'm fighting with these. I'm a big teddy bear, man.
Yeah.
I'm not a violent guy.
Yeah.
But I used to fight.
Well, yeah, you got to look the part, talk the part. Otherwise, you get
it's all
walked on.
Exactly. So, you know, you're in this thing, but I start to notice this, or I come out of this and I notice this character that I am, because the real me comes out. The guy that you're going to hurt me, you're going to leave me, you're going to, who you seeing, the jealousy, the thing, because I suddenly get scared. And then what I'll do is I'll put myself in a position of power. That could be cheating. That could be, I need to feel some love from somewhere else because I don't feel that person's giving me. And it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, it's all absolute rubbish.
Some amazing realizations you've had.
It's huge, and I see it because you know, I look back now with new eyes, and I see my partners. I see my first wife. I had 2 beautiful children.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lost my first wife. You
Oh,
know?
sorry to hear
and
that.
that's okay. And you know, she was a prisoner of my mind and my ways, and we'd, you know, partied, and there was and anyway, she was an alcoholic, and you know, that was a really tough time. But I left my kids in the care of her mum and dad, and I carried on. I carried on. I was an agent of chaos. I was, you know, dangerous.
Yeah.
And why is this always happening to me? Why is this always happening to me? And I think, you know, I look back now and I look at that pulling on your arm and saying, please stop, please stop, please stop. Or the second wife, and had another 2 kids. I'm getting up to 40 years of age now. You know, another 10-year marriage. And she's saying to me, please, you know, every time you do this, you're taking a little piece of my heart. And one day there's going to be nothing left. And I go, okay. And I promise. Yeah,
frothy appeal. Was it? How does it? Frothy emotional appeal avails us none.
Plug me up to a lie detector. The CIA could have me. I mean, some of this. Look at the instruments around it. You could have me wired up all over.
And you mean it when you say it.
5 minutes before
done.
I used. Yes. And I would tell you that I'm not going to use, and it would come back true because I genuinely don't ever want to do that again. And then something happens. That obsession of the mind, that allergy to the body, that all gets triggered. How beautiful that we get to learn about this stuff, because
It starts with honesty, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because a lot of people have if you can't be honest with yourself,
definitely
that you've got a problem, then none of this is available.
I think for me, it's a solution. You know, I came in, suicide was part of my problem, and we'll finish on the me before we can maybe get into recovery or whatever you want to talk about. But you know, suicide was part of my game because I was so depressed. I was so lonely. I was so anxious. I was bipolar. I was snorting lines of cocaine, crying my eyes out into them on my own. You know, I had no one. I'd pissed away anyone that had ever loved me. And it was just me. I was locking myself in there. I was isolating. I didn't want to be when I was getting me drugs. I was coming back. I was, you know, smoking dog butts out the ashtray at 7, 8 in the morning when I had to be at work in half an hour and convincing myself, telling me that story, going, just get 10 minutes sleep. And then you'd be, madness. Absolute insanity, you know, and I'm crying and I'm gambling, I'm on poker stars, I'm
pouring the works,
and I mean, it's horrible sitting up talking in kitchens, or finally then getting to sleep and laying there and going, come on, go to sleep, and you've got to be at work in an hour, it's 8 in the morning, you've got to be at work at 9, and then me getting up and going out and drinking, going back to bed.
I have no idea what that's like.
It was it's horrendous, and it's you don't, the thing is, you don't know there's a solution.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's just the way we live. And I think I'm always going to live like this. I'm never going to be out of love. Everything's always happening to me. Me. It's a me problem.
Yeah.
And then we find recovery. But, you know, I put a rope around my neck.
How did you go from being in that turmoil, the depths of despair, to finding your road to recovery, your way out?
So for me, it was ego that got me in. You'd have never have known that Purdy. You see the party guy.
Yeah.
You see the successful guy. You see the guy that you see on Facebook that takes angles at a certain thing when he's on a yacht, or he's on a boat, or he's in his BM, or he's in his Range Rover, because I'll angle the photo at a certain thing with the kids so that you see, and I portray that I'm okay. He's got a good job. He's got this. He's got that. But I'm not.
Broken inside.
I'm absolutely busted. I cry myself to sleep when I get to sleep. And for me, it was ego that brought me in. It was someone finding me, because no one ever knew I was like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I splashed the cash. I'm the party. You want to hang around me.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I ended up in hospital, because I, you know, like I say, I ended up with a rope around my neck. When I ended up in hospital and they asked me in hospital who my next of kin was, I couldn't give my name.
Shit.
And you lay there and I'm crying and I'm thinking, what happened?
I'm
43 years old, 44 years old. I'm lying in a hospital bed. Where's all these thousands of people that I've surrounded myself with, all these things? They
used to come to your house every night because you had gear.
Yeah. You're broken. They're gone.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you don't realise it doesn't matter. And it's like, you know, but we learn this stuff in recovery. So what did I do? I went into a treatment centre down here in Hove, actually. And Hove actually. And
I didn't know if that was a pun or you meant
no, it was. I didn't know it. And so I'm in there, and then, you know, I got out and I did what I knew how to do. I sniffed cocaine and I drunk myself into the floor.
So it didn't do it for you?
It didn't do it for me.
Because it was just a break. It wasn't.
Do you know what? This is why. And when I was found, I was 4 days into a bender. My front door was open. Someone walked in my flat. I had no top on. My heart was beating out my chest. I was going to die again. You know, like we are 1,000 times. And I'm going to die. And I can't breathe. And he tapped me on the shoulder. He looked at me. He said, "Oh my God, I didn't look like this." You know, he said, "Mate, I've never been so scared in all my life." He said, "I know someone in fellowship, 12-step fellowship.
Yeah.
Come and get involved." And I said, okay. And I cried and I wept and I cried and I said, okay. That was the point for me where people talk about rock bottom.
Yeah.
I don't think there's such a thing as a rock bottom.
No?
I don't think there's such a thing. I think there's solution and surrender. Or even, I don't even think there's surrender, because that is something that's controlled by me. And anything that is controlled by me turns to shit. So I need to understand that it's just the last house on the block. It's solution and spirituality. Yeah. Solution and spirituality are the two things that put me on the right path. Because let's talk about rock bottom. I've been in prison.
Yeah.
I lost my wife. I lost my kids. I lost my houses. I lost a 200 grand a year job. I've lost businesses. I've lost my sanity.
Yeah.
Where's the rock bottom?
Yeah.
You know, I've been there 1,000. I put a rope around my neck and I killed myself. I was found, I went to hospital, I come out of that and I'm drinking and using again.
Yeah.
Where's the rock bottom? There is no rock bottom.
Wow.
There's just, for me, solution. And I found it in a 12-step fellowship.
Thank God for you.
Thank God.
Seriously, that's a hell of a story. What a ride.
Yeah.
But, geez, okay.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
It was a painful ride, you know, at the end.
Yeah.
We start off in these warehouses and isolation.
Starts off glamorous and fun.
And how does 30 years get so... There's so much pain in that 30 years. You know, there's some great times early doors, and there's the odd time, but the pain outweighs it. How beautiful to find fellowship.
Wow, amazing. And that's why I can see you've got such a drive with your Spiritual Cartel, with your recovery stuff, your courses, your meditation, your breath work. I mean, you're doing it like an addict, man. You're smashing it.
Yeah.
You're right now in a good way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're just like, give me this stuff. I want to, do it and share it. So I loved hearing that. And what is the Spiritual Cartel stuff you do now?
So that is a meeting that, so I came into, I joined an online meeting.
Yeah.
Someone said join an online meeting, and it was there that I heard a message. No big, profound spiritual scripture.
Yeah.
Stuff that I like to talk about, write poems, and I do other bits and pieces. I came into a meeting and I heard a message from someone on the screen, and it hit my soul. There was emotion involved. I heard this person bare their soul, bare everything, and they were saying, I've got to get done, I've got to get done, and they were crying, and there was emotion, and there was loads of people on this screen, and I was just sitting there, and I was thinking, how beautiful that they've got this place that they can just come and be open. There's this room of people that can just come in, because we know what it's like, because we're all the same. So to come in and actually start to talk about it and be able to be vulnerable, wow. And I'm hearing it and I'm listening to it, and I'm busted up and broken. I can't even talk. I'm debilitated from this disease. And I hear this message, and they say, put your number in, and we'll contact you. It wasn't a doctor that saved my life, or a physician, or a clinician. It was a drug addict, a one-tooth drug addict from South London. Yeah, armed with the facts. Yeah. When I put my number in the chat, he rang me. He said, "Hello, Purdy." I said, "Hello, mate." And I get emotional talking about it, because I just didn't know what to do, man. Do you know what I mean? And he said, "Purdy, you're not a bad person, brother. You're just sick like me. Let me show you a way."
Wow.
And I heard it. And I felt it.
Got straight in.
And it got straight in. It said, okay, what are you doing tomorrow? And we start this work. We start the 12 steps. The 12 steps for me were just incredible. There was loads of moments. I mean, I could talk to you about the 12 steps for 6 hours. It's for longer. It is incredible. It's completely life-changing. For me, Spiritual Cartel, after getting through the 12 steps, after having a spiritual awakening, a profound shift in consciousness, that I don't want to do the things that I used to want to do that anymore. And we do that through this 12-step process. 1, understanding, admitting that I'm powerless and life had become unmanageable. 2, coming to believe in a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. What does that mean? For the insanity is step 1. So I start to open this second door, this spiritual door. In 3, I hand it over. Fire the liar, hire God. And we call it God. And they go, well, God, what are you talking about? I've got a fundamental idea of God. When the chips were down, when I'm crying my eyes out, when I'm in a prison cell, when my wife's kicked me out, when I've got black bin liners, when I'm sleeping in the back of a car, when I'm busted, when I'm curled up in a ball, crying my eyes out, going, God, please get me out of this one. Please give me my kids back. I pray to this guy now, but to have a relationship with him. See, I built this relationship in the dark that I don't really know about. When I come into recovery, if I'm open-minded enough and I'm willing and I'm honest, as you said, I start to be able to do this in the light. So what does it mean? And you go, well, God, what? Some geezer in the sky, make believe with all this, but no. An energy, a power, Mother Nature, universe, God. Just something that's not you, Purdy.
Yeah. Something more powerful.
Something more powerful than you. I need to be 100% convinced that my life run on self-will, my life run by me, is not successful. We come into 4, we look at this moral inventory. We start to do this, which is great. It's just a point where I can see my part in it. Where you go, well, my abusers, people that hurt me when I was young, how can I be at fault? I'm at fault because I hold on to the resentment. I'm at fault because I've got anger off the back of it. What does that anger show up look in my life? It shows up with me punching people and getting put in prison cells. So therefore I have to see my part in 4 and I need to hand it over in that 5th column to spiritual. I have a conversation in 5. In 6 and 7 it's the spiritual seesaw, entirely ready to have God remove defects of character, humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. That's the 6 and 7 seesaw. Whenever there's a problem, whenever I'm in pain and suffering and anxiety and misery and depression, I'm in 6, man. I'm in the 7 deadly sins. I'm in wrath, I'm in lust, I'm in greed, I'm in sloth. I'm in one of those, and I need to transfer it to the spiritual. We get to learn how to do this. 8, it starts to fill up my heart with love. 9, I go out there and start to make these amends and start to effectively say sorry to the people that I've hurt, and if there's any way that I can make it up to you, or if there's anything I can do, and at the start you think, well, I ain't going to do that. How the hell am I going to do that? It's daunting
at the beginning.
But as you work through the steps, your heart fills with love. Step 10 teaches me to check yourself before you wreck yourself. It means that I can keep in all 12 steps all the time. Very robotic at first. It's a bit like, but what happens is, you're living in all 12 steps. I understand straight away something happens. You come at me and you say, do you know what? Fuck you, Purdy. You're an idiot. And I go, And in the old day, my default setting is to come back and attack you, or a dodgy text message from my ex or something like that, and I'll text her back, or lust, I want to go after this bird that I've been seeking, and I'll start, I'm putting myself forward. So what I get the opportunity to do in that moment is I get the opportunity, I learn how to pause. I get the opportunity to learn how to be quiet, to understand that I'm in 6, to move it over to 7. I do that through coming to believe in a power greater than myself in 2, handing that over to the care of God in 3, having a conversation in 5, leaning into my step 11, which is a close conscious contact with God, and then leaning into step 12, so I keep so far removed from 1. That's how I work my program. And that's step 10. Yeah. Step 11 is a close conscious contact, which means I can learn how to meditate. I told you we were having a conversation outside, you know, a new pathway. I've been offered a job, big money paying job. I don't want it. Yeah. I don't want that life. I want a spiritual life. I want a peaceful life. I want a life of service. Yeah. I want to help people. I want to be a hope dealer. I want to...
A hope dealer. I love that.
I do. I want to give back. And we're going to talk about... You asked me about 20 minutes ago about Spiritual Cartel.
No, I'm loving it. I've never heard the steps broken down like this.
We get into that. So, I mean, at 11, I'm learning to pause. I'm learning to pray. I'm learning to meditate. I'm learning to get quiet. I'm learning to get a close conscious contact with. I do that through having a relationship with my breath. What keeps you alive, Purdy? Breathing. So we start to learn how to breathe again. We start to take it right back to, I need addition by subtraction. I think I need new birds. I think I need new Range Rovers. I think I need more money. I think I need, you know, to lose weight. I think I need all these things. But what I need to do is I need to take away. Yeah. That's how I grow. And I learned to do that in this 11, and then we get into the beautiful step 12, where things like Spiritual Cartel happen, where after having had a spiritual awakening for me is a profound shift in consciousness. I don't want to take drugs or drink anymore, and I'm coming up 2 years sober.
Wow, well done, mate.
You know, and I do not want to take drink and drugs. What happened there, man? What happened?
That is an amazing transformation.
When you think you can't stop, your kids, your family, your business is nothing. Not just that. All my kids are back in my life now. Wow. I'm friends with my ex-partner. We're best friends again. We're on talking.
I bet they're amazed at the transformation, right?
It is. It's just a beautiful thing, because as this spirituality percolates through me, it seeps into others. Yeah. And it does that.
I'm feeling it right now.
It does. It feels great because I don't want to fight her anymore. I don't want to, and I made their life hell. So to have that. And then what happens is you get into service, you're able to, feeling this way, you get the opportunity to sponsor. You get the opportunity, we are uniquely qualified. We're uniquely qualified. We know what the pain's like. Yeah. We know what the suffering and the misery and the heartache and everything's like. We know what drinking drugs is like. We know what abusing ourselves is like. And then all of a sudden we don't want to do it again. And then you get these new people that are coming in. Wow. I get the opportunity to put my hand in the pit and go, come and hold my hand, man. Come and hold my hand, brother. I know how it feels. Yeah. Let me show you a way. And all of a sudden, you start to save people's lives.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. If I don't heal from what hurt me, I'll keep bleeding over people that never cut me. Yeah. So I hurt people. I learn this through fellowship, and then I come out the other side and live a more spiritual life. And then, I go to conventions, I go to different talks and different things, and the blood of the fellowship, not just the ink from the pages and the beautiful big book, which is an incredible book.
It's an unbelievable
book. There's so many beautiful things in there, all the way through. And it's ever growing and ever evolving and changing. As I'm growing spiritually, the book changes when I read it. When I read through it with sponsor, incredible.
It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah,
or sometimes you can open it to a certain page, and the phrase you read applies to exactly what you're going through or whatever.
I find it amazing that we identify so much with a book written, and then it just shows you.
Written in what, 1933?
1930. I couldn't quite remember. 39 is going in my head, but it's probably wrong. What are you talking about?
That's edition 4.
The 30s, early 30s. A long time ago. And there's some beautiful poems. I mean, page 133, we are sure God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. We can't subscribe to the fact that this life is a vale of tears, though it once was for many of us.
Deep stuff in there,
and it's just this. Well, there's so many beautiful things in there, and you take it and you put it into your own life, and you understand it. So helping others. I went to a convention once, and I saw this guy. He was brand new, and he ran up the middle of the stage, and they said, "Is there anyone brand new?" And there's 300 people, and they're all singing "Angels" by Robbie Williams, and everyone's happy, joyous, and free, and without drinking drugs. And you think, wow, what is it? Like, I mean, catapulted, rocketed into this fourth dimension, into this new existence, into this way of living, surrounded by. Do you know what? I laugh about it sometimes. I found unity and love in the warehouses in the early 90s.
Yeah. It's the first spiritual experience for most people.
With drug addicts.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought 40 years later, being in a room full of drug addicts has saved my life?
Yeah, mad, isn't it?
It's like that full
And
circle.
the vibe is similar. It's just
Very
really
similar.
loving,
We're good people.
open vibe. Yeah,
We're good
yeah,
people.
yeah.
We just get a little lost along the way.
Yeah.
You know, we're full of hurt, and we get to learn how to manage that within fellowship. We get to learn. We get reborn. We get to live a second life.
A lot of people tell me that without that earlier terrible experience, they wouldn't be living the wonderful life they're living now.
I think.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
it's
there's like it happened for me, not to me.
Yeah.
Because you get the opportunity. Because I think a lot of us lack purpose. I had no me. Let's talk about myself.
Yeah.
I had no purpose. I didn't want to live anymore. I couldn't die. I didn't want to live. I didn't know who I was. And all of a sudden, this gives me purpose. I can help someone.
Yeah.
I can bring them in, and I can pick them up, and they can put their families back together, and they can go off and sponsor other people. Oh my God, I've got purpose. It's like that amazes
That's amazing,
me.
isn't it?
That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Wow.
And that just gives you inspiration. And the inspiration for Spiritual Cartel, a big meeting, 365 days a year.
Wow. And this is all online, is it?
All online.
We'll put some links at the end.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
7 days a week, 8 o'clock every single night. And what happened is, when I first come into recovery, I'm a vampire.
Yeah.
I come alive at night.
Yeah.
You know, sucking the soul out of life. And the UK meetings finished quite quick. So I found myself in America a lot, going on these American meetings on Zoom, Canadian meetings on Zoom.
Yeah.
And I heard something. I heard these speakers. I heard these people with a message. I heard these incredible things. I started to build these relationships with these people because I was up. I was up from, when the UK closed down at 8, 10 o'clock at night. I'm still up at 3, 4 in the morning, even not using.
Yeah, just
but my mind's still racing because I'm early days. I'm early recovery. And I start to hear this message. I went to a convention once. I heard this show. I saw this guy, this brand newcomer, run up the middle of the stage and get this big book, and there was tears, and everyone was, I said earlier, linked in a circle. And I drove away from that place, and the word Spiritual Cartel come into my head. The name Spiritual Cartel come into my head, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a platform where I'm going to get all these speakers in from all over the world, from America, from Canada, from South Africa, from Germany, and I'm going to bring them all together, and there's going to be a different share on every night. So people get to hear a solution every single night.
Wow.
And I was 6 months sober.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it was like Spiritual Cartel because the name is spiritual, plus it's the cartel, so it create a family. People can come in and feel part of a gang. Cartel feels like a gang.
It does, yeah.
So, but Spiritual Cartel. So all of a sudden, we start building it. I start learning about traditions. I don't know at the start, because obviously we have these beautiful things in fellowship where not only do we have the steps, we then have traditions and concepts and ways that you can really start to look and change your life. Ways that is what I'm about to do or what I'm about to say going to cause greater unity or greater separation. I get to think like that now before I act out. And tradition 1 tells us that. So I've got my first flyer comes out, and it's got a Buddha on it, and it's going back in black, and then someone says to me, he goes, "Purdy, have you heard the traditions?" And I'm like, "The what?" You can't have that on a flyer, mate. You know what I mean? It's like got OMs all over it, and I'm just doing it from a place of love. We've done these things. So all of a sudden, I learned. I read the World Manual. So I sit there all night. I phoned the person back the next day, and I said, "I've read the World Manual. I get it." They went, "You've what?" I said, "Yeah, because I want this stuff. The feeling, I can't explain the feeling. The feeling is incredible.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's life changing.
You're almost like a preacher, like you're living it. You're living it, you're breathing it, you're sharing it.
I feel it. It's an energy. I'm not the man that come into this place. I'm not that person that I was. I don't want to fight anyone anymore. I don't have that fight in my soul.
Even
I want
yourself,
you to be okay.
You don't want to fight yourself.
I don't want to fight myself.
Accept yourself, do you?
Yeah.
I've seen a guy who accepts himself.
Most definitely, most definitely. Do I suffer pain? And of course I do. I'm a sinner. I'm not a saint. I'm not a preacher.
No.
I'm a sinner. But I'm trying to be better.
Trying to be a winner.
I'm
like
trying to be better.
I like that.
And I just sometimes it happens, but the beautiful thing now is I don't get into that bitter morass of self-pity. I don't sit there thinking about because that's what you spend your life doing. I should have had that.
Should have done this.
My
Why
kids.
did I do that?
Why did I lose the house? Why did I have that? Why didn't I save all that money? Why did I spend all that money? Why? And it just drives you mad. So that to that point where you can forgive yourself and you can move forward, and you do that through service, and then for me, just life absolutely life changing. It's a peace of mind. All the noises have gone out my head. You know, and I can just now speak freely and move freely and feel free.
Wow.
I haven't got the money that I used to have.
Not motivated by ego.
No, exactly.
Or
don't need it.
Desire.
I gave up my car. I had a nice BMW 530 to sit on the drive, and I got rid of that and got a bus pass.
Really?
You know, for that first 2 years of
just
recovery. Yeah, because I get to see the truth. I get to see the truth. When I got my arm out the window and I've got Public Enemy on and I'm looking like a bad man and I'm looking over there and I'm seeing if the girls are checking me out, you know, and I'm not in the world.
That's just so unspiritual.
It's external, it's avatar, it's creation, it's not internal. I'm all front, no back.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I get this opportunity to get on the bus. I get to talk to old people and say, hey, how you doing? And they go, yeah, we're just off down the town, buy our little kid a present. And I feel the love from it. I come off and the rain hits my face, I feel the rain. I go in, I see something. I have these spiritual experiences all the time. Awakening is a profound shift in consciousness. For me, experiences, because I'm awake, I'm alive. I get to see things now because I'm not asleep anymore.
No.
You know, and that is an incredible thing. So, so Cartel came to me. I start learning the traditions. I start getting a service team around me. And now, you know, forward to, we had our first year convention in November.
Oh, you actually got your own convention?
Yeah, we had a convention. I've had over 375 speakers from all over the world come and share on Spiritual Cartel. Wow. There is an audio library of every single share that's ever been on there that you can access.
There's hundreds. Is that all from your show?
All from the show, that you can support with recovery right through from meditation to steps to big book shares to spiritual principles to experience, strength and hope. And we've had some absolutely incredible shares on there. Gosh. You know, people from all over the world that have come in, and famous people, public people, addicts, many people have come in and shared that space, and ultimately we're just united in that in that beautiful recovery bubble, and it's incredible. And so it went on from there, and you build a service team around you. So all of a sudden there's 34 service members now. So you've got addicts that have come in that are now of service, that are now part of
the cartel.
And then we know, and then off the back of that, I create. You know, we're going away to do a spiritual retreat.
Tell us about that.
So, there's a place in South Wales. I come across it. I went on a little spiritual retreat, and it was absolutely incredible. It was beautiful waterfalls, you know, cold water swimming, seeing nature, going for these beautiful walks, hugging trees, rolling around in the grass. I'm too cool for school. I don't do, you know what I mean? It's all rubbish now. I love it because I want to feel nature. I need to feel this thing, this power. Because people will say, you know, it's like this God, and what is this? For me, it's that Mother Nature. It's that Earth. Yeah. This power.
For me as well, the sea, especially.
You look at where we live. So if I take that in exact, so Purdy, have a look at your life. Let's have a look at all the things that you try to do under your own power. The lion lives inside my mind. It convinces me this time that's going to be different. I'm going to be different this time. I'm not going to get an 8 ball. I'm just going to get half. And then I've called the dealer 19 times and it's still 8 in the morning and I'm still busted up and broken. But, you know, I connect to this power that isn't me. I look at the sea, incredible, the waves that come in. And now I get to listen as the water comes back through and it pushes out of the stones.
Hear the suns.
You know, hear it. You see the sunlight. You see the wind as it moves in the trees. It makes the grass dance. You know, we look into the distance and we see the hills and we see the trees and we see, if we went to other countries, we'd see mountains and rainforests and coral reefs and all these incredible animals and deserts. And you get the seasons that come in and out, the thunderstorms, the lightning. You've got the stars, you've got the moon, you go past, you've got the galaxies. The earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour around an axis, but because of gravity, we don't fall off. We're breathing in oxygen and nitrogen and component particles. Guess what? There might be something more powerful than you out there, Purdy. You know?
And the mad thing is,
are you willing to believe?
The mad thing is, you can actually experience these things now. Whereas a lot of times in the madness, it's a sunny day, rainy day. It doesn't matter. You
get to experience it.
You don't notice it.
I notice it. And when we went to this place in South Wales, this waterfall thing. Oh my God. I saw Mother Nature. I saw it there. I got in the cold water and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to get the service team together and we're going to get up there. So we're up there for 4 days. I've hired out a great big bunker. Wow. So we're all sleeping in the bunkhouse together. We've then got a great big tent where we're going to do meditation. I'm currently coaching. I'm training I'm doing a diploma for breath work and meditation and grounding. By the time we go to the retreat, end of July, I'll be a fully qualified breathwork and meditation instructor. So I'm going to take my first proper session there with a group. I've got some practical stuff to do in my exams, but I'm going to do it there with a group. Of also flying someone in from Canada.
Wow.
She's going to come and do meditation and stuff for us. She's an incredible meditation coach.
Jeez.
And just had that unity, just had that togetherness. And so how beautiful do we get to do this?
Just amazing.
And
the stuff you're doing is...
If you think about that service team,
unreal.
32, 34 people, you know, they're all coming into a group. They're all sponsoring people.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's quite a lot of people
already.
Yeah.
If you think they're sponsoring 1, 2, 3 people, and then they get those 1, 2, 3 sponsors, and they're sponsoring people, you start to create this magical thing. You know, you don't have to measure it. I don't need a trophy. I don't need a certificate. I don't need a pat on the back. I don't need you to.
That's impressive, though.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
And the love kind of comes up the chain back to you, right?
Of course, it doesn't even feel like it's just love all around. You just see people getting to put their lives back together, and you learn. Humble. You learn to be humble. Does it show up? Of course it does.
Yeah.
We have a thing where we're on service and you get voted into positions. And obviously I've done all the positions in Cartel. I built it from scratch, you know. And it was just recently, it was like 2 years on, I went for a position and someone else got it. And I was like, do you know who I am?
Yeah. I like that.
Do you know who I am? I built this thing.
This is my Cartel.
It pops up because that's what we are. But it's great to go, hold on, here he is, he's back. Shut up, Purdy.
Yeah,
amazing, well done, brother. Congratulations.
Wow.
Because actually, I want other people to have service over me.
Yeah.
But there's that little bit that wants to kick in,
of course,
because that's what we are, and it's beautiful that we now get the opportunity to identify it, and we get the opportunity to move away from it very, very quickly before it bleeds into bitter morass, self-pity. Everybody hates me. Nobody loves me. Oh my God! Do you know what? Fucking the best thing for me to do is push the fuck it button, or just get out of here and go and do something else. Geographical, people, places, things. No, stop.
No, just deal with it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay.
Acceptance is the key.
It is.
Wow. Purdy, that's amazing. But on top of all of this, you're a bit of a rapper as well, and a lyricist from back in the day, aren't you? And when I saw your video about the 12 steps, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd share with us? Just because it's so unique.
Of course. I know
we don't have a beat or anything, but it's profound.
All right. It's all right. And it's just, the 12 steps saved my life.
Yeah.
You know, it really did save my life. And, you know, I love writing. And I was journeying a lot when I came into fellowship, just sort of writing down my thoughts, getting them out of my head because my head was so busy. And then as I start to recover, as I start to, you know, get calmer, I picked up the pen again. And, wrote a 12-step poem. So it goes, never before could I understand what was going on inside me, the mess, carnage, chaos, rage, when all I wanted was to be tidy. I was ripped apart in a struggle with no one to guide me. Was this it? Am I dead as my soul left my body? Step 1, I'm powerless. Why is it taking all this to remind me? Did I forget all the pain and the suffering and that I'm not free? My kingdoms, they were built and then they were burned down around me. Please not again. This ain't normal. This is sick me. But sick me is me. Same roots, just the wrong tree. New branches and leaves must be grown to revive me, but I'm scared, is there a God? So I get down on my knees. Of course I'm here. Step 2, let me guide thee. Relieve me from self. Please, God, help me to walk with love in my heart and peace. This is step 3. I'm not sure how many times in this rhyme that I said me, but with God and this fellowship, switch that me to we, because we stand together on the shoulder of giants. Never before have I felt such love and defiance, unity, connection, strength with one breath. Now I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm in. God is with me. And you soldiers of war of life struggles, and I'm into step 4. Resentments and regrets from a life lived before. Dig deep, my friends, because I know it feels sore. These cuts and these memories, I know that they're raw, and I know it feels strange. We ain't been here before, but God is now with us. You're in the right place. Work hard, be true, release and feel grace. Grace from God as we admit all our wrongdoings, ready to let go and remove our shortcomings, take them right from us to hold up in heaven. Our weight starts to shift through 5, 6 and 7. I'm open, I'm honest, I'm alive and I'm grateful. 8, 9 comes along and it's tough, it feels fateful because I've damaged myself and so many in my path. But my amends to all these people from all the misery and wrath. Be bold, be brave. Just put pen to paper. Let it all out. Be free from the hater. You'll quickly find out, and this much is true. They'll forgive and they'll forget. The hate's inside you. Be open. Be honest. Explain all those years. How you were sorry and caught up in addiction and fears. What could I have done different? What could I have said? Lay it all out, man. Put it to bed. Keep an inventory daily and keep a check on yourself. When you're wrong, just admit it. Take care of your health. Step 10 lets us live there. Step 10 keeps things right. For you to succeed, you've got to fight and take flight. But never forget to drop down on your knees. Meditate through 11. Stay present, stay free. Your connection with God is a power within. Free from all self-loathing, sickness and sin. Keep yourself in a triangle. There's no going back. Unity, service and recovery will keep you on track. Now you're into step 12. You're alive. You're awake. Your life is so bright and it's no longer fake. So get out there and help people. Give back, men, some souls. This is your path now. These are your goals, a new beginning, a fresh start where your heart now thrives. Get out there and help people. Go save people's lives. I'll finish it here now with me turn to we, a breakdown of self and a mind that sits free. Thank God, thank my sponsor, and thank all that I meet. I'm happy inside now. I'm back on my feet.
Oh, yes. Purdy, that was flipping awesome, man. That was flipping awesome, mate.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's, wow. So deep, so heartfelt, and beautiful delivery. I can't believe you don't still do lyrics and stuff.
We said, but I think it's like maybe in time, you know. And it's for me, it's we're busy. We're busy in recovery. We're busy. We've a new life has been given to us. You know, to watch people recover, to see a fellowship grow about you. This is an experience you must not miss. Right here, right now. I don't want to miss it. Yeah. I want to be involved with people. I want to help people. I want to, you know, I want to be there. Yeah. You know, I've just started getting back into that work life. So it's getting the bridge to normal living and the balance back in after doing the right thing and putting my recovery first. Yeah. But the opportunity to have Spiritual Cartel, start another meeting called 6 and 7. Oh wow. So it's busy. It's busy.
I really
haven't
respect
got that much time yet.
Yeah, well, I really respect that. It's been 2 years and you know, you're at the point where you don't want to take a big fancy job with loads of stress that's going to take up all your time.
I don't want it.
You don't need it. For what? So you can buy a new Range Rover. That's not you anymore, right?
If I earn 15 grand, I'll spend 16. Yeah. You know, I'm learning to live minimalistically. I don't need any more. I think that's a huge thing, to learn how to live like that.
Humble.
Because now, it's just, you know.
I love that, man.
It's great.
Such a great message. Yeah. What do you see for the future of Spiritual Cartel? Would you bother with in-person meetings, or you just staying with the technology?
Stay there. I think the beauty of that the meeting gets between 150 and 200 people on every night. So it's a big meet, and it's growing. It's grown from the start all the way up. You know, there's 3,500 group members. It's you know, that are in the groups that get the recordings. The recordings don't only go there; they go all around the world. So it's just a beautiful thing. It will carry on, and it will carry on without the beautiful thing with traditions and things is I get out the way. New people come in. Because nothing's bigger than fellowship. The minute that I think I'm Spiritual Cartel, the minute that I think I'm mine. I'm the Big Willy Bobo, the minute I think I'm Billy Big Bananas, the minute I think I've got all this stuff worked out and I'm this, I've lost and I'm losing. And do you know what? Those feelings don't come up. That ego is squashed. It's not there anymore. How beautiful to be able to step away and go, just take it where it goes. Let it grow organically. I'll go on and do something else. You know, and then let that go. And we just keep this beautiful flow moving.
It's amazing, like the actual nucleus of how meetings started and how they, you could start any kind of a group, a golf group, a sewing group, it would peter out. But this, I mean, from the very first meeting in the 30s, it's just like it's weird. It just, like you say, self-supporting, self-energizing, literally doesn't need outside help with the sole purpose of just trying to help people.
Yeah, incredible.
And do you work with newcomers as well?
Yeah, all the time. So I'm constantly working with other addicts. I haven't since I got through the 12 steps in about 3 months.
Wow.
From that point to now, I've always been working with 4 to 6 men and women. Yeah. All the time.
So men and women?
Men and women. I've taken over nearly 70 people through the work.
Gee. Whoa. Yeah. I've never met anyone who's done that in 2 years. That's flipping amazing.
So I take a lot. I go a 12-step, 4-hour workshop where we look at the action parts of the big book. We get into it quickly. We get into it. We do it. I mean, the Spiritual Cartel meeting finishes at 10 o'clock. Sometimes I'm sponsoring people at 10:30.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you it's
solution, because like, if they're anything like me, I'm a ticking time bomb. I'm a hand grenade. 24 hours, I could be back out the door. People are dying. Wow. People are dying, you know, and if they're not dying, they're losing their mind, they're losing their family, they're losing their sanity, they're walking zombies. Yeah. You know, this is where this disease took me and takes most people. So I need to act quick. I want to act quick. And then what I do is I'll get through the 12 steps. We get connected to a power very quickly. Yeah. It takes not very long to learn it. It takes a lifetime to practice it.
Yeah, so I was going to mention that. So I notice obviously in your cartel and your coursework, you do it quickly. And that's great, because a lot of times people come in and they're desperately in need of help, But, you know, spend a month doing step 1, step 2, and it's like you need to be, you need to go in hard and fast.
Either way,
and then you can take your time and
either way. And I think you know that first part is open-mindedness, you know, honesty, willingness. I think some people will pigeonhole something. You can't do it that, it's got to be that way, or you can't do it that way, it's got to be that way. There's not any of that.
No.
It's the feeling. Some people fast, some people slow. For me, I needed it fast.
Yeah.
When I first opened that big book and it talked about Bill and Bob and Jim and Fred and Jay Walkers and Wall Street and whiskey into milk,
that's not helpful.
It's not my narrative.
Not if you want to use.
It might be someone else's narrative. It's not my narrative.
Mm.
So I needed the action parts. I needed to understand how to connect to a power.
Yeah.
What's happened now is, I've cleared away the wreckage of my past. Now I've actively worked and I'm sponsoring people. I've read the big book many times now.
Yeah.
And now I can read it.
Yeah.
Now I understand
Now you get it.
Now I draw forth the deeper meaning of the words. Now I slow down. I'm slower. I understand when it says vigorously. I understand when it says action. I understand rather than just reading it as another thing. I now go back and it opens up. I take people through it both ways. I can sponsor through the big book. I can sponsor through big book sponsorship.
Yeah.
There are many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, and that's incredible. And why have one? Be open-minded. Let's go. You know, what it's about is about the feeling. You can't experience the experience until you've experienced it. I'm all about the feeling. And through my sponsorship now, I also bring in meditation. So we meditate the steps. So not only do we do clear-cut directions through the workbook, we then meditate through the clear-cut directions as well to get into that spirit world. Which is where it's at for me.
I love that. Do you also go to meetings still, or do you kind of, as well?
Yeah.
How do you get the time to do all this shit? Jesus.
So we go. I mean, I don't go to as many face-to-faces as I'd like, and probably I don't actually go to a lot of meetings for me.
Right.
And I don't mean it like that because Spiritual Cartel is for me. And you know when you feel like it's a job, it's not a job. I've always got something to do. If I'm on Cartel, I'm looking, I'm thinking, I'm making sure the audio's right. I'm doing other things. I'm busy. When have I last time I've been to or if I'm going to a face-to-face, I'm sharing. I'm the main share. I'm doing the main share, or I'm doing or I share at a convention or something like that. When was the last time I went to a meeting? I don't know. I hear a message and it's a beautiful thing, but actually I could do with a little bit more of actually sitting down, shutting up, you know, and listening.
Just listening.
And I do that a lot online, but I think there's something beautiful about face-to-face. Again, you can't, why do people do it online? It can only be face-to-face.
No.
Open-mindedness. It can be both.
I've had great experiences with both.
It can be both. We have
and with
to be
Zoom,
open-minded.
it's just, you know, with lockdown,
Incredible.
it's amazing, wasn't it?
Incredible, which is why Spiritual Cartel, you asked earlier, with Zoom, because you just get that audience
People
from all around the world.
Australia, South Africa.
Tap in and get a solution. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Wow. You dropped so much science on us. I love it.
I don't know about that.
No, you have done. Well, yeah, I think. No, I'm really glad you came in because it was a really great message. What message would you give to someone out there who's maybe watching this, thinking, I don't know if I can. I need to stop. I need help. I need something.
I get it.
But they don't know where. Maybe they're watching a video on YouTube, search recovery or gratitude, and find us.
I get it. I get it. You know, and there's no one can help me.
Yeah.
This is me. This is my old attitude.
Yeah.
No one can help me. No one's been through the pain that I've been through.
Yeah.
They don't get it. No one could have had the suffering that I've had. No one, you know, this, and this. Thank God I was wrong. I come in, we find a bunch of like-minded people that are in exactly the same position, that are busted, that are broken. There is freedom. I promise you, 100%, without a doubt. Every fibre of my soul is on fire for this stuff. And that wasn't the case a little while ago. There is a solution in the rooms, beyond the walls, that we build all by ourselves.
Wow.
And what you get to do is not only do you get to really put your life back together, you get to put your family's life back together, you get to put their lives back together, you get to put other people's lives back together, and you get to be part of something that's really, really special. And all the, you know, there's no fear. There's always going to be fear about this God and all things. Just come in and get involved. Just come in and get involved.
Have
I'm
an
not
experience.
some Bible bashing guy that walks around the street, says a Bible, and God bless anyone that does. I live a spiritual life.
There's a difference, isn't it?
There is a difference.
People don't realise that.
No.
They think, come in, you've got to pray to God.
Exactly. And it's not that. Yeah. It's just not me.
Yeah.
You know, not me. Get out of the way, Purdy. And we learn this stuff, and it can all sound very confusing. Ultimately, we're busted up, we're miserable, we're broken, we're depressed, we're anxious, we don't think that we can live anymore, we don't know what to do. Come in. come in,
Come into your
come
meeting.
all the way in, sit all the way down, shut up, and just listen.
You can sit at the back of the meeting, can you? You don't have to speak.
Of course you can. You can come on Zoom and have your camera off and your mute thing.
Yeah.
You know, but just
Get
come in
involved.
and get involved, and then something magical happens. And I smile. I'm smiling now because it's an internal. It's I get emotional. So I'm smiling and emotional. Do you know what? Life is incredible today. It's totally different to what it was. And thank fellowship for that.
Yeah, love it. Well, Purdy, I'm going to come around there and give you a hug if that's all right.
Let's do it.
And then we'll end. That's how we kind of end the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Give us a little thumbs up.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, pal.